lounging, son.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Creator Chat here at the Comic Lounge. Today I have another awesome guest for you guys. I have one of my favorite artists in comics, RM Guera, and you probably know him from Scalped. If you haven't read it, go find it. And he's also working on The Goddamned Volume 2. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. And by the way, it's Guera, straight,
Guera.
no accent. Yeah, no accent.
Okay, cool.
It doesn't matter at all. It's just to, I don't know, to be useful in some way. It's Guera. Even Spanish don't pronounce it well because in general, English or Spanish or European languages have some kind of music. Okay. So if you imitate Italian, you will say da 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 da. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Slav languages, they don't have any kind of special music inside. They have those hard combinations of letter d, d, sh, z. You know. So my name is Guera, straight, no accent, Guera.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm glad you told me because I hate when I pronounce names wrong. So first off, I just wanted to ask, like, how have you been doing during this, this COVID and stuff? I don't know. How are you affected over there where you are? I know over here it's been fucking insane in the U.S.
Yeah, well, outside of this studio is insane. Inside of this studio is almost the same. It's I don't know. I suppose everybody else would tell you the same thing. It's a lonely job and profession. To me, this didn't change too much. It did change, but not as much as I would say or comment something. What's crazy is the world outside. It's just really becoming not predictable, which is becoming really heavy lately. You can't predict anything now. So it's
yeah, that's pretty crazy for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect your art output, right? Like, because you're able to kind of separate like that kind of aspect of what's happening, and like you just focus in on your.
I don't want to sound pompous or something, but if the artist is good, his only problem is himself. You have so many things to solve and problems and whatever compositions and graphics, and especially I'm right now doing few projects at the same time, and sometimes you go crazy. So when they say COVID, you say what? So I don't know. I don't even notice too much. Well, I do because of family and things. It becomes sometimes complicated. But actual work, nothing special. Dates could be moved, or sales are different, or I suppose the most difficult job right now would be to be editor or organizing anything. It's really, really, difficult to do that now because everybody wants to understand everything, and it's not possible because they can't guarantee anything right now. It's really, it's really difficult. Many shows are off, many. Some serious in France, they canceled many things. So I don't know in States, but
Everything's been canceled. I mean, they're saying there's not even going to be like maybe 2021. They're talking about, we don't know. And concerts, I think are canceled through most of next year too. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But let's talk about something more positive. Let's talk about comics. So I always like to ask when everybody I talk to, how did you first discover comics as a kid growing up?
I really can't point the day. It was really incredibly natural, and it's too far away. Any drawing it made me very excited. I remember maybe the first shock, let's say, that I remember were Fleetway Western books in late. It was maybe late 60s or something like that. They were made actually in mid 50s or late 50s, but in ex-Yugoslavia, where I'm from, they came late 60s, and it was a shock. But it was instant. I never even remember saying, "Wow, I like it." I just do. It's just so instant. But and it was difficult to get those there. really, socialist country, the whole story,
Yeah.
and once you do, you learn everything about it 5 times all over again. It's so precious to you.
Hmm.
So this was in a way, I suppose, good, because you really got into it, because it's so precious, or once in 2 weeks or 3 weeks I can buy one,
Hmm.
and they were out each week, I think. So it was really struggle to know what's inside, if the cover is like that. You're looking at the cover, maybe.
Hmm.
So, and when you buy it, and inside is a disappointment, that was a bad day. but this kind of circumstances forged something that I don't know what it is, but it's deep. It's part of me, and I see it's different from people that had it from the beginning, as something natural to them. So it was
Hmm.
really precious to me.
You talked about the Western books, but did you discover like American or European comics first?
It was European, but all of us were marked by American culture,
Right.
and it's interesting because the real talents. How should I connect this to you? Because you seem young to me. I'm not sure. Do you know who is Noel Sickless?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say I don't recognize the name.
Everything came from him, and you had Noel Sickless, and afterwards Milton Caniff and Frank Robbins, who
I know Frank
started.
Robbins, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, 1 point for you. It's okay. So the whole thing started there, and the all the superhero stuff just was trying to uh, make commercial use of achievements of those guys. Okay, so
Mhm.
sometimes it went good, sometimes it went bad. But the intent was different. It's different. If you read Frank Robbins's Johnny Hazard or Noel Sickless's Terry and the Pirates, and look for these guys, Milton Caniff's work, you'll see it's adventure. It's adventure. Many places, character work. It was
Mhm.
important that you have people who look different, and they're not super aimed or superheroes. They're just funny, different. Think, you know, Houston movies, or Humphrey Bogart, or you had
Mhm.
always some kind of definition of a character. So
Right.
to me, this was always much more attractive than something that was perfect but doomed, like superheroes are. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's different. It's different. This generation, no Sickles kind of, they spawned something very interesting, which is Mad Magazine. Okay, which is Kurtzman, Jack
Yeah.
Davis, Wally. Okay, so this
Yeah, I
was
know them.
the fantastic next step. These guys gave birth to European comics. Okay, and
Mhm.
the first generation was more Argentina, Italy, things like those. Then France had incredible boom. It was 50s and 60s. It was incredible. But
Yeah.
they took as their masters people from adventure vein of everything, graphics, art. So
Yes.
superheroes, you have to wait to meet somebody really good. That I can't. Buscema, Joe Kubert is something. He's really one of the best. It's just up there. He's incredible. But you have to go through 50 artists to find somebody with that kind of push and drive. And you can see what is about Jack Kirby. When you see these pages, you see him. You don't see
Mhm.
superheroes.
Yeah.
They are going through him. This is what I want. And many years, too many years, you have generic commercial in a bad way. You have commercial in a good way as well. Commercial acceptance of what to do with this. So people like Ditko or Wally Wood, or they were all tragic, very tragic lives, because they couldn't flourish. It was just too,
Mhm.
the industry was too much industry. There wasn't no I don't know, Westerns of John Wayne's or whomever, or Howard Hawks, or who made it good and commercial as well. So you
Right.
have this kind of really weird marriage. And when I was young, superheroes were, especially Daredevil, it was really, it was an impact for me. Wow, this is so good. But very soon, all that was left was really, and I still like it, I still think I have it from then, effective storytelling. It's very clear. What do I do? Afterwards, I discovered that it was because of many scripts were really just dumb. they were so they were so unbelievable that you had to have those. So, but once you understand this, then you catch the talent of a guy who drew, because he juiced out what was important to see and make it interesting. But this juicing out came from Noel Sickles, Frank Robbins. Everything they were good at was from there, from adventure stuff. So I don't know, the last 20 years or 30, I don't know how many years, I just can't tell, with Miller's appearance and guys like those, superhero comics became something else. Mignola, or it became really good. Okay, finally something I can really enjoy. You know, it does something to it. There is some kind of, looks like the bad stuff went away, but I fool myself because I read only the good stuff, and it's always 5%, 10% of everything.
That's true.
It's just too much. I'm not against. It's like the problem with Westerns, with 50s, or it's the same thing with the costume super guys. There's just too many of them.
Yep.
I'm not against it. And, you know, if you give me a good story, whatever, something simple like, you know, Hellboy, whatever. It's a good story. It's a good motive. It's a good, something good is, and all that sometimes the story is jokey and humorous, and sometimes it's really tragic and looks really serious, you know, but the world is believable, you know, and everything else is just, I don't want to make anybody feel bad about it, but it's just play of melodrama to make an excuse for super things to happen. So it's okay, but just give me something. Give me something that makes me go inside, and I will give you back something good. You know what I mean? I'm doing Nighthawk right now with Jason. It's good. It's really, it's yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? With Jason Aaron?
It's on already. Yeah.
Yes.
Make it exclusive. Make it exclusive. Give me a second. I will show you part if you want to see it. The first page is a
splash. Of course I want to see it. Are you kidding me? Yes, please.
If this means something to even Jason, didn't see it because I'm just working on it. Okay, it's a.
Oh my God, dude!
But it's, thank you. But it's, you see, my school is something making it solid instead of attractive. I just don't know how to say it else. And that's the first page. And
oh my God.
Thank you. Oh, come on. Yeah, you're maybe blush. Thank you.
No, you don't understand. Like, Scalped is one of my favorite series. We'll talk about that.
Thank you very much.
Like, so then, like, I've read that series so many times, and then Goddamned, I loved, and I was waiting for volume 2. So like, now that you're doing, and now you're telling me you're doing something else. Like, okay, let's.
Volume actually, Goddamned is at the end phase. You know, the books are out already, and I'm finishing the 5th chapter, so it's really on. All the things are coming on. But you see, I think that there are many eventually good artists right now, but their motives are hooked to something that's not healthy because of the way they grew up or whatever. So if I give a good motive to averagely good artists today, good script, and say, give me whatever, poetry, sadness, or instead of putting in something, whatever. I'm trying to avoid words like, something cheap or something that was seen so many times. This is what bothers me.
Yeah.
It's just said so many times. It's just, okay, I'll do it, but it's just, okay. It's just same thing happened with Westerns. And I have this problem with this chain of thoughts. I can't stop. Once I it's like spaghetti westerns that everybody thinks I like and I dislike spaghetti westerns. It's just a pop music to me. It's just a nice visuals and nothing else. But they gave rebirth to westerns because they made this wake up, you know. So they gave something, you know. So and then you wouldn't have Wild Bunch, which is, you know, up there with gods, without some influence of Sergio Leone and the whole thing. What's the main question? Sincerity, but not sincerity how much I adore colts or horses or superheroes. No, sincerity in the story. If on what I am, what I can give you, same as, you know, Bukowski or poetry, or give me something sincere, whatever it is. Wherever you put it doesn't matter, but what matters is that you give me something, not your exercises of your techniques or there's so many colors now on superhero pages that I can't even look at them. There is nothing muted. It's screaming all the time. You know what I mean? So I won't blame anybody in particular, but it's so easy to make it better. It's not difficult at all. Just, you know, do it differently, in a different way, in a better way. It will give results, but the problem is that this clash of Jesus Christ, I'm going really far now. Marvel or whomever, they look for guarantees.
Yeah.
Okay. And there aren't any. Guarantee converts everything to mediocre. What was good with old comics or 60s, 70s is that everybody was buying willingly risks. New style, wow, did you see that guy? What did he do with it? And now everything has to look in a certain way, which kills it. Kills it. Just, you know, I need to know today's actors like Dustin Hoffman or Gene Hackman, different, you know, big guy, imperfect guy, not a perfect guy. Perfect guy, bad, never good, bad. Give me something, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, you need something like to give you something good and try to. Sicario, this is fucking amazing. You know, can I curse?
Yeah, of course. I fucking
So Sicario, Taylor Sheridan, this is my hope, you know, and it came from Michael Mann, and Michael Mann started it first with Heat, with Last of Mohican.
Oh, I love Michael Mann.
Something credible started to happen. Somebody is making this, as they say, like written in stone. You have to give me good. Nothing else matters. Give me good. So this is, you know, so if I repeat pages or something, it's not because I know what I'm doing. I know what's good, and I don't have a clue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I don't understand myself, but I know where to go to find good. So this is the only difference. There is nothing else. There are people who are technically eventually better than me, but they have this problem. You see, it's just with few words that you tell them, and then again it becomes like instantly it's wow, this is like a legendary advice of no, stop, you know, it's just a guide to a guy. Pomposity or no, okay, I grew up on American culture. The worst thing that happened to American culture is spectacle. Kills everything. If you can put this, apply this to things that are happening, and you'll see, you know, luckily, and I'm going to shut up right now. Luckily, there always is, I don't know, 5 or Taylor Sheridan, Michael Mann. There are always 5 to 10. 5 to 6 maybe % of people who will do good even if you kill them. You know, he will do good, and money doesn't count. He will do it good because it has to be done good, and that's all. They don't permit these things that are, you know. So and it's the same thing. It's when you read Cormac McCarthy, or it's the same difference. It's just good. That's the only difference. There is nothing else. He's not better in anything else. No, he's just really good. So what's good? if you have, Bukowski and Cormac McCarthy, and the two opposite guys to each other, and they both are same goodness, same level of being good. So this is what it's about, and it becomes difficult to say with less words.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
So I just, I can't. I talk like this all the time. So.
Hey, yeah, no, man, I love hearing it. Well, let's talk about something good. Something that I think stood out to me from the minute I picked it up was Scalped. Like I was saying, what you and Jason created with that book was something I had never experienced before with a comic book. I loved it. Your art style continues to be instantly recognizable to me, and it was so, like I said, it was so different. You guys took like multiple genres and mashed them together and created something so fucking crazy. And I was just wondering, like, how did that? Because I mean, now you're going to be doing another book with Jason that you kind of talked about. So how did that book come about? Did he find you? Did Vertigo kind of connect you guys? How did the project come about?
I had a tax problem in Spain, and I needed a secondary work, and I always wanted to do something in the American market. I really like doing things with, sooner or later I have to do it because I like it. I'm not, you can see it on my style, I'm not 100% European as well. It's just in between of things. So, and it was looking for the secondary thing to solve this thing here that I had over my head. And I contacted an old friend of mine, Igor Kordej. He did.
I know him. Yeah.
Okay, he's a very good friend of mine. He says, "Okay, I'll give you some mails," and I mailed some stuff to 5 or 6 personal emails to editors, and got really nice replies and the whole thing. And actually, Kordej told me, "Stay with Vertigo or with Will Dennis, especially. He's your guy. He's like you. He's, this is really you'll see." And it was really instant. It was so fast. I was doing actually second album here for French market, and the idea was to do a Batman or whatever, So Will Dennis asked me, "What would you like? Because I like your stuff. It's just anything. Tell me, do you have some preference?" And I said, "Give me something small, modest, just to get to know each other. Just don't put me there, to see how we work." And the first thing he offered, I suppose it was the same day or something, was Scalped. And I read it and I said, wow, So funny thing happened. I left French project in the middle of the book because I liked Scalped so much. It was such something so good and familiar to me. And then Jason, the day, I think, question of day or two or something like that we signed a contract for Scalped. Jason got a son, so and he named him Dashiell, and it was really wow. This is becoming like there was something going on there, and it's just instant. This, I don't know, chemistry could be the word, but if you give things that nobody asks you to give, it's called caring or loving doing it or whatever. This is the only way that something good can, so everybody we didn't know that Scalped was losing money. First, I don't know how many issues, monthlies, maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever. He never told us. It was like, no, it's good, okay, it's okay. We didn't know. So, and everybody gave something special. It was just, Will calls it kismet, which is, luck. It was so lucky. And on the 5th issue, I just had to change the colorist because I don't think the guy understood. And Julia came, and she's with me 15 years now. She's coloring all my stuff all the time. So something just worked there. It just happened. It's really difficult to say something else because it's just really, luck. If you speak to Jason, you will see how different he is from myself as a, he's a different guy. So this is like giving each other what we don't have, something like that. You complete something there.
Yeah, you guys complement each other very well.
So and it was open and really, really dream work. It was just, it happened so unusually easy. Pop, just, for 6 years, almost 60 years of work.
Yeah, and so like this is two-part question. One, do you guys ever see yourselves maybe returning to that world of Scalped? And second part, is there any plans to recollect it? Because I know it's out of print, and like I love to try to recommend it, but it's not as easy as it used to be to get.
Last
Okay.
one first. In Spain, they're publishing black and white Scalped in 3 volumes, really thick ones, and the sales are really good. And it's
Man, I want black.
It's an expensive book because it's really thick, and it just sales are really good, even with the COVID thing going on. And revisiting the whole story, it must come naturally.
Mm-hmm.
We never ever planned things in advance. It was like, let's see where does this go. I always say this. I spoke about these things. It could be interesting for your fans there or whatever. The size of breasts of Carol. Okay, she has big breasts. Okay, so the first thing that Jason told me, and it was really fantastic. Only writer can give you this kind of click to go in. He said, "Make me a girl that everybody would fuck, but nobody would marry." So okay, I understand. I know what you mean. Okay, you know what I mean. So I made her really voluptuous, and on first panels she didn't have such big breasts. It's important, eh? So I made her really all the time something so sexy and almost aggressive, like a lioness or something really like that, So at the end of Scalp, when the girl of Dashiell's life is somebody else, and he is looking for comfort. With Carol, he has fantastic sex. They love each other, but they're too similar to each other. They're both very, uppity and the whole thing. Okay, so once Dashiell found in Maggie, girl of his life, this is when I should have made big breasts for the first time, because he needs comfort, and it's good to have, then people would understand better. And then I have this competition. Both of them have to, because we didn't know what's going to happen. So I had this. The effect was much less than I wished, because they both have now this, So this is like an example of how interesting, complicated, and fun, and things that come by. So you never know, but it's the best of it. You improvise. What could I say more? When Dashiell was junky, I made him really thin, and then at the end, when he started eating well, his hair grew. Then he was really bigger and less of muscles, more of meat. Small things like those, like things that you can do, making it, but it's all subtle. Maybe this is what people miss about my. Maybe they don't understand, or maybe it's hidden, that all the good things that I work on are actually very subtle. They're never pompous, or whatever the word, And I have this problem of train of thoughts. I just can't stop. But once I catch it.
I definitely saw those the subtleties and the changes. I myself am a recovering addict too. So I kind of related to Dash's character, because like I went through. I mean, I wasn't the same person, but like I went through similar addictions. So like I saw you like as he's like sucked up, and then like eventually as he gets clean, like he changes. So I did notice that, and I think that's why I connect to that story so much too, because just that small window of like what he went through.
But you're all clean now.
Yes, I have 8
I'm
years.
happy for you. I'm really,
Oh, thank you.
But any addiction is it's very simple. What I like to do it again. That's all. There's nothing else to it. You repeat what you like, but one day, it's called, I suppose, growing up or something. It's not good for me. I have to stop, and that's all. So you could, I suppose, you could talk much better than me about this thing, how difficult and what is difficult about it. You just have to grow up. There is nothing else. This grow up, these two words, you are alive in order to grow up, not to be happy or to be whatever else. Your duty as a human being is to grow up. Nothing else. Everything else matters less. Your duty is not to stay idiot. So you know what I mean. So I'm happy when I smoke something or I drink, but there is something idiotic about it, and I can't say what it is, but there is something always there. This being open to absolutely everything, then nothing matters. Once you understand the levels of importance, things in your life, then you grow up, and I left tobacco like this. I didn't have a problem leaving it. It was just a moment. Okay, I'm sick of it, and never again, and that's it. And there is one thing more, and I suppose you will testify as well. Once you leave it, you have to leave it like never again. This doesn't exist for me ever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, when I stopped, I had to stop everything. It's not like, oh, I can just do one thing because one thing will lead to another for me. Like, it didn't matter what it was. I wanted, if it would get me fucked up, I wanted it. Cigarettes took me a little bit longer to stop. I went back and forth. I would stop for like a few months and then go back, because that one was a little bit harder to kind of give up. But yeah, I mean, once you stop, you just have to. It has to just be, that's it.
Yeah.
Because you can't do a little bit. Like they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, like, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough.
Yeah.
That's the saying, right? So.
Yeah.
And it gets easier. It gets easier every year. I mean, sometimes I have thoughts, but it's like really quick. I'm like, no, I don't need that in my life. So.
You see, but that's the part that matters most. You didn't have that part before. That's all.
Right. So yeah, I wanted to talk about Goddamned. Like I said before, I loved the first volume when it came out.
Thank you.
I waited impatiently for the second volume. I don't.
It's
you
my
don't
fault.
need to. It's your fault. Okay.
It's my fault. I had different things going on, and it became just too long, and I was doing other things here. And Jason is the most trustworthy guy in the world. When he says you're gonna have it, you're gonna have it, and he's really. I'm not, and I don't lie, which is good, but it becomes something else, and then my interests, So in general, most of the fault is mine. It's just. So let's see. What do you think about the second album? You'll see. Did you buy the first chapter?
Of course. Of course. The minute it was announced, I read it because I work at a comic book store right now.
Okay.
Part time. So and Image sends me the advances, but I won't read it digitally. I want to have it in my hand. But dude, phenomenal. First issue, great. Second issue, amazing. I wish I could just read it all at once, kind of, but it's fine. I'll savor it, each individual issue. And then I even went back and reread the volume 1 again, just to kind of refresh my memory. Yeah, it's great. It was worth the wait, for sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, really.
Yeah.
I think that what we learned from the first volume this is why I like working with Jason. You always learn something. I think that the first volume started late. It needed 15 pages or something to really start, or 2 chapters or whatever. So now we did it from the start. Now the second book, we started from the first page. The story goes on. Something is happening that's unusual and different, and it just builds. So but the point is that without these risks, you never learn. It's something like that. The first Goddamned is okay. It's to me, it's again something that there will be at least 2 more books. Let's say this is the idea, to have 4 albums, 4 completed books. This is the idea of the Goddamned.
Like, was this like planned? Like as you were finishing Scalped, like did you guys come up with this idea together, or did Jason present this to you?
I have my doubts that he already had this from before. We met second time in New York when it was saying goodbye to Scalped, and we made some party there, and it was really nice. And it was like, what do we do next? You know, it was just, and I really, we were in the hotel, and I really stopped in my tracks when he said, well, I have something. And I was, yeah, well, give it to me. No, he says, Noah. You know, what? Noah, the ark, Noah's ark. Yeah, but he's the devil. And I just stopped. I said, wow, this is really good, you know. And then came afterwards, like, but I suppose that those are things that Jason has already. It's like when I revisit my sketches and things, I find million things there that you know could lead me there or there. You have those things, you know. So I suppose he had many ideas, this or that. Once we saw each other again here in Spain in Avilés, and he says, "What do you think about this, about that?" And it was okay. We never made a second step about it. And then once we talked in New York about Noah, I was hooked. I said, "Wow, this is really good." And the idea was the title of the series should have been Before the Flood. And then Jason Latour, and the first chapter should have been called Goddamned. And then Jason Latour said, why don't you swap? It's really better, you know, call it Goddamned. And the book is called Before the Flood. I said, well, yeah, there is a sound. The Goddamned is really good. So he was important for that. Jason Latour.
And so you said you guys have you want like 4 volumes.
Yes.
How far out would you say that you guys are going to do volume 3? Obviously, you got something else working right now.
I hope this is going to be good news for you. We will start volume 3 as soon as possible because we waited too long between the first and second. It's just too long. It was more than 3 years. It's just too long. So right now, once I finish, I think end of the year, I have European Conan. It's not American, it's European market for Glenaf, for France. And I have the Nighthawk, and I suppose right after we will start next book of the Goddamned. Nice. As soon as possible.
And so I wanted to also ask, what creators or books are you currently following that you're excited, or do you spend too much time actually creating and not being able to enjoy checking stuff out?
It's different. There are 2 or 3 guys that I really like to see, but I don't follow anything. It's just too much for me. What I like is to read books. I like books. I read books a lot. Relaxes me. And once you choose your style, or once you get to know who you are artistically speaking, when I see other artists, I enjoy, but it's mostly I have to choose my attitude towards what I see, you know. Okay. So there are guys, Rafael Grampa from Brazil, who is incredibly lazy.
Yes,
he is absolutely amazing.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, you know, and you see, you instantly see this is good. You don't need to think about it 3 times. Talent is instant. It just shows, and you're sure of it. That there is no doubt. You know, there is Rafael Grampa. I liked Imone or guys from there. This Connor Willemsen. They're okay, but there is some kind of something is weird is happening there. They don't. I'm waiting from them something more, and it's not coming. They're superb from the first instant, but they stayed there. I like to see development. I like to see something risky. You know, first and second guy or at the same place for me right today are Rafael Grampa and Denis Bodart. Denis with S at the end, Bodart with T at the end. Denis Bodart or Bodart in French. He's Belgian. He's Belgian actually, from Belgium, and he's incredible. He's a really good friend of mine, and it just there is his family to me. It's just we make different things, but we came from the same sources, and he's like, I'm not sure if I like him because he's like a brother, or because I feel so much what he does. I'm looking at them in Spain. There is a nice generation developing, but talent needs effort that's very special and recognizable because you work only on yourself, And this is what people understand. So if you have a scene, whatever, Hackman and Brando, whomever, they will say differently the same words. Okay, this is not because they can't say this like the other one says it. They can imitate whatever you like, but the whole point is not to imitate, because it's the same work everybody has. How to make your talent visible. Talent is other word for you being unique. Everybody is unique. Everybody on the earth. Okay, so the only thing you need is work on it. That's the difference. You know, this is why Will Dennis always laugh. Oh, suffering artists, you always suffer. You know, things like this. He makes jokes. Actually, jokes are good. But you need this. You can't do it without that. It has to be from the gut. If you see Sicario, or especially Hell or High Water, this cannot come without pain. It's about pain. Not because I need to do Bamba, you know, make my life painful. It's because there are some segments of everybody's lives that don't get you to come in without pay, and you have to pay with pain. You have to be nervous. You have to don't know. You don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? So this is why I really don't know. I don't understand myself, and this is good. And that's the price of paying. Once I start understanding myself, everything is over. Seriously, you can't develop anymore. You know, it's like development is way of life. So once you fix it, this is bad. You can earn. You know, you can earn by that. You can I'm this, and then you offer it, and then it's you know, lucrative. But it's the same thing. You know, Cormac McCarthy has the same problem. How can I take out something new from myself? No, there is this really horrible interview, because I really can't stand Oprah. I can, when I see her, I can't. Yeah. So there is an interview with Cormac McCarthy and her. She's interviewing, and I say, "Oh wow, no," but okay, you know. So there is some kind of, I suppose it's true that he wrote The Road in 10 days or something, 2 weeks, something like that. It was like,
oh, wow.
He just, and she said, you wrote it in 2 weeks, something like, you know how she is, oh, wow, you know, that, all these things. And he says, no, I was writing it for 2 years in my head. And then when it came, the moment came, and then I just did the deed in 2 weeks. But in fact, it was inside for a long time. It's like when you have a good idea, it's never ever instant. It's not possible. You paid this, but you just don't know it, because you were thinking in the shower, on the street, and it was, then you can, you know, and one day, wow, you know, it came by. No, you earned it. You have to spend all this time. So there is no, I suppose what I want to say in smaller amount of words is that there is no shortcuts. They don't exist.
I wanted you to elaborate on some of the projects that you're working on now that you're wrapping up Goddamn. First, tell me what projects you're working on, and then tell me everything you can about Nighthawk. I want to know everything you can share. Well, if you want me to delete it afterwards. No,
please don't. I'll try to be, you know, I'll try to do it honest enough, but I can't tell you too much, because it's part of the chain of stories and things that happen there. The only thing I can tell you is that I will try to make, because I was not happy with few things that I did with the superheroes or Marvel. I did few things, but I was just like smelling what's happening there. And right now, I think I caught something that is worthwhile. So I'll try to add to Nighthawk what Jason and me have, like, naturally, something that makes it real or makes it different in a way, you know. So it's violent, and I'll try to bring some kind of darkness to it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Some kind of not make it less shiny.
You know, I mean, it's like a great character for you to do. I think with your style, it works for sure.
Jason, especially, what do you think? You know, Nighthawk is something that you. I said, it's okay. So I made a first sketch, like, maybe the first day or second day, and it was like, wow, yeah. So Marvel agreed, they liked it, and then the whole thing. They called me on the I suppose that Jason told them to call me or something like that. And it was like, yeah, of course, yeah, I'd like to do it. But it's really difficult to tell you because it's part of some things in a story that it's not my place to tell you. If Jason wants to tell this to you, he should be the one. Because it could be a spoiler or something. The main thing about the Nighthawk, really, you should ask Jason, because he's the author of the story, so I don't want to give up anything that could be important for him. So in general, I'm talking about the look of it, what I will intend to do to add this, whatever, I don't know, emotion, whatever, I don't know how people perceive me, but I know they think I'm like good on emotions and things like that. But to add something, because I have a good feel about it. It could be like a right superhero for Jason and me. We did Malekith.
I think so.
We did Malekith before and talked about Thor, but in we got mixed in other projects and things, and it didn't come by. But in general, I don't know. I think we will keep working all our lives. It's just a question of doing things again. It's just So Nighthawk. This is as far as I can go. You can put the page that I show you. You can put it online. It's okay.
All right, cool. How many issues? Is it a
just
miniseries?
one? Just one.
Oh, just a one shot.
Just one, and then we will see what happens afterwards. It's just but with Jason and me, it really, maybe people would be surprised. We don't exchange too much, but it's really always we have this kind of understanding that started many years ago, and it's like it's really like family, so he said something incredible. He's just a good writer. When he published article about us meeting for the first time, and he said it was like meeting an old friend for the first time. So it's such a there is a good sound to it. There is something, so we really understand each other. Whatever we do, I would make, I'll make visuals for his cake recipe, whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll come, we'll keep on working. So,
Awesome. That's very good to hear. Anything else that you're working on?
I'm working on Conan Barbarian for the European market, for French Glénat. And I'm trying to finish very old Western of mine that was awarded in Yugoslavia and things. And people are interesting to see it, but it was not finished because of the war and the whole thing that happened there. So I'm trying to finish this, making 2 albums in one, which is more than 100 pages, the French ones, the big ones. So this is also on the table, and it's more than enough. So I have Goddamned finishing right now. I already started Conan. And I already started Nighthawk, which is really more than enough, and the commissions and things that always happen. So I'm really busy. But in general, I'm trying to expand what you eventually liked in Scalped. It's just trying to do things that are interesting for me to do, nothing else. But the script, really, you can't make good comic out of the bad script, and you can make. You know what I mean? And you can make at least average or good comic with the average drawing and a good script. If the script is good, it's more than a half of things. Now you have something to add. You have something to work on. And Jason has this really special kind of writing. I worked with people, but he has. I suppose that his talent is to know what not to tell you. He just gives you these things and just, whatever you like. And each time I says, what do you think if I do this? He said, do it. And then I make a proposal of something totally opposite of that. What do you think? I said, yeah, do it. So he always leaves you, okay, just do it your way. It's okay for, this is really marvelous because he really lets you breathe. There are times that I receive from Jason wrote a synopsis of Scalped on, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 pages or something like that, plus cast or whatever. And it was so good and unperfect that this is what got me in. Oh, I like this, and I think I know what it needs. So this is the catch. You know, he has this, he's Southern, you know, just few words, very good one, very, you know, he's, you know, different. And I like this a lot. I like the way Cormac McCarthy cleans his thoughts to make them on a page, to write them down. There is something very, I suppose the word could be traditional, but there is some kind of value there that but at least I need it. It's becoming philosophical, and I don't know, you know, I see. But it's for me, it's difficult to see it differently. You know, it's difficult to be. I'm trying all the time to say these things simpler, and I can't. It's just too difficult for me.
I mean, I love that. I just want to say I love that the fact that you guys plan on continuing to work together.
Yeah.
I love when you guys collaborate. Hopefully one day I get a chance to talk to Jason myself. Because I mean, your art, and I love his writing too, even the stuff that like he does on his own. Like you said something, there's something about his writing. He's like in my top 3 favorite writers. You know, I love everything he does. And I love every time I find out you guys are doing something new. So this Nighthawk book, when you showed me that, I'm fucking stoked.
It's like he's doing a lot of work, but the best stuff is when it leaves you. It has to be from the gut.
Yeah.
You know, there is something there, and you give it with decency, however bloody it is, but it needs this approach, and then it has it's like seeing somebody who is nicely dressed. You don't see it at once. You have to turn to wow, you know, and then you see, you know what I mean? But if you see it at once, there is something cheap about it. You know what I mean? So it's better if you turn around and say, "Well, this was good." You know, this was, you know what I mean? So these things and these things need some kind of very, very special kind of work that sounds like a secret, but it sounds like a secret because it takes each of us separately to do the same work separately, personally. You know, this is why it sounds like some mystery or something. No, it's because each one of us is different. You know, so I spoke with recently with he didn't take it so well, but and I really think this the guy's a critic, and he's pretty good. He's serious. He's pretty good, and the whole thing. And at one point, this way that I talk, I said that analysis of something has nothing to do with creating something. It's like this. So anything we say right now, it can be interesting. It can be. I have a great time talking with. I try not to be unreachable, or I'm really open. I'm really trying to, you know, things like those. But creating something has nothing to do with analysis. Just, you know, when you play a good football or whatever, you can't analyze. It's too spontaneous. It has to happen. So it happens differently. However high the level of analyst is, he can't understand how Bob Dylan makes his songs. You can't understand it. Even he doesn't understand it. So it's difficult, and it's not attempt to make it mysterious. It's because really, all of a sudden this happens, and wow, you know, you say, wow, I'll do this and I'll do that. Okay, suddenly it's opening, you know. But you can't know that this is going to happen. You just can work on this the best thing is to be in a situation prior to creating. You know what I mean? Because if you put yourself after the creating and you're good and everybody knows you're good and you talk how good you are, you lost big. Because you lost the part that's prior to creating, which is relaxed, sincere, direct, feel things, or saying Noah, but he's a devil. He's a bad guy. Fuck, yes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So this is what, okay, and you need 3 words for this. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it's right 3 words, So what I'm eventually trying with these letting go of my, because you wouldn't believe, but I was very, very silent for many, many years. I wouldn't give interviews. I was really almost arrogant. I wouldn't talk to you if you don't know who is Noah Secrets. I wouldn't talk to you. But it matters that people understand things the right way. You know what I mean? So we have to work on that. We eventually have to say these things because nobody's saying them. So if somebody's saying it, I would be, I would shut up and that's it. That's it. But these things have to be said. I don't know why I'm doing it, but this urge exists. When people compare me with something that's not my influence, they say, "Wow, it's there." And you say, "Oh, fuck," it just has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And it's really uncomfortable situation. You don't know if you should say something or anything you say is wrong, and if you say nothing is wrong again. It's just really, they put you on the spot. What to do now, So, but I think that why shouldn't we have read much more masterpieces and people who just express themselves? It's not about the costumes. It's about your belief in these costumes, these things that can, if it's deep, well, yeah, give it to me, Ditko or whomever, the masters, the good guys, and it's so easy to accept it. It's good, and then afterwards you have this kind of, as I told you, I suppose that editorials don't want to risk, but they know they have to. So that's kind of always, because there are no guarantees. You have to trust. I'm sorry, it's just, I'm doing best I can. This is what, this is how Orson Welles finished his life as a bitter guy, or Peckinpah, he was soaked in alcohol, or what I mean? People who are really exceptional, somebody who doesn't, we don't have them, we have them once in 100 years or something. And these guys, so, but it's not too difficult. It's just, we should work on it. That's all. We should work. I don't know how, but we should work on it.
I agree.
My question to you: what are your, besides Scalped and everything, what are your favorite comics, and what are your favorite artists, and what is it that you really like?
One of the books that I'm really enjoying right now is Bitterroot by David Walker, Chuck Brown, Sanford Green. I think that it's a very unique book that's on the stands. I've also, Ed Piskor, I've discovered his work over the past year and a half. He did a Hip Hop Family Tree at Fantagraphics. I also got into Love and Rockets over the past year, by the Hernandez brothers.
I'll search for those. I suppose I'm robbing you right now, these names, because
I mean, why do you think I asked you? I was trying to rob you. So I like to ask artists because that's the way I discover stuff. Like, you started off the interview talking about those 3 men that were formative for you. Like, I only knew one of them, so now I can go back and learn about them, and so it's kind of cool to be able to share that with you as well.
Those guys are important because they are a good root for everything, and they, without even knowing, they were roots for everything. The first guy who used real composition and graphics, actual art in his hand, was Noel Sickless. And it's once you Google him, you will like your jaw will be like that, because he influenced everybody. There is nobody, no, just he even helped famous Milton Caniff for many years, and people, I knew it. I knew there was something happening there. It was not uh, official, but I knew this is something else is going on there. And after, I don't know, 30 years, somebody said, no, well, Noah Sickles did many pencils for Milton Caniff. I knew it. I knew this guy, there was something going on there. As we talked about drugs or this, it's really not good to make it too easy on yourself. This is why I did when we did Scalped, and I don't want to make it too easy for the reader. It's not good. I need your effort as well. How much? I don't know, like this or like that. But you should not have it 100% easy. Elaborate what I do. My pages should be composite, all the things. But once you read the second time, you should be sure that, okay, this was decent work. There was no cheating here. But when you read it first, the most important thing is the story. And I have to take you in, like Hell or High Water, Sicario, Heat. From the first second, something is going on. And it's not easy. And then you see Heat for the third or fourth time, or I see it much more times. Then you see that all the levels are correct. Everything is just amazing. That everything they thought about everything. It's in such a right place. So this is what differs him, Michael Mann, or Taylor Sheridan. This elaboration, this thing, that makes him different. Style is good, but I think it should be consequence of who you are, not all of the objective of your. If you have style like complete objective, can't be too wrong, but can't be too good. I'm not sure. I think that what you produce should be consequence of who you are. And then you read me and you read, there is a space where I know who is Cormac McCarthy. And I never met him. You know what I mean? So, okay, I understand this guy. I understand. Okay. And this is what we need. That part is not about money. Money is a good consequence. I need it. I want it. I'd like to have it, But the main thing is, I suppose that, somebody more intelligent than me says it's about the whole thing. It's never about your one book or, the important thing is all of my artistic life or whatever the name could be put there. But this exchange,
right.
When people talk about Dashiell and Scalped, and they talk like Dashiell was alive. This is what I like, and this is what you need and appreciate, because he became alive, and without this feedback, I wouldn't know it. I wouldn't know if it came out good. I'll stop now because it can be.
No, I mean, I said before, Scalped is, I've read it multiple times. I mean, and it's always good. It never loses a step. But before we get out of here, I just wanted to ask if you could share where people can find you online. I'll also throw the links down below.
Just RM Guera. I had web page and I was bored with controlling it. On the Facebook, I have 2 pages, and I'll try to make it only one, because I'm so absent. And from time to time, I really try to make this Facebook page decent to look at. I always put something new, some commissions, some comments, or so my Facebook page could be some kind of my web page, because I really try to, and people ask me for commissions and things, and you can see many sketches and things that I do instead of web page. It's just too much for me. I'm really absent. I'm busy.
Yeah.
So I try to treat it fairly, this Facebook page. So Facebook page, for any comment or message or whatever you like. Sometimes I don't answer at once. Sometimes you will wait, but I will answer. I will answer. It's always, I will come by,
Thank you again for doing this. It has been a privilege and an honor to be able to sit here and talk to you today about comics. And I would love to do this again. Next time you have another book out, man, we'll talk more.
Thank you, sir. We're just friends. That's all.
Yeah.
Have a
Awesome,
good
man.
one. And thank you for this. It was nice. Okay.